Good afternoon, everyone. Let me have a little bit, spread. Yes. Ah, yes. I think you must be getting fragrance out of this. Um, See, I'm having your syllabus here with me, and the but the guidance and counseling one, the unit two. Uh, we have been continuing to these group guidance techniques, that class talks, career conference, group discussions, field visits, career exhibitions, audiovisual techniques. Yeah, few things I have uploaded, given to you, but and few things is still left. But in this entire second unit, last part, role of personnel in organizing a guidance service. Um, in this part, let us finish this one today, because this is small and not that much of complex, but complex in adopting to self, not like it is a part of a personal inculcation of the values of this being a personnel of organizing a guidance service in our schools, in your schools, in an organization. And even if you become a professional counselor, even you must know that. But for now, this last bullet of second unit, this is a role of school personnel in organizing guidance services. And here we can take up one teacher, as a teacher, as a this guidance service provider. What minimum roles he or she has to follow in this program, or career counselor, if you are a career counselor also, or if you are a headmaster or principal of the school. See, camera is here, and my vision is towards this side. That's how I am sometimes confused in this mobile camera. Okay, friends, so here, in very simple way, we will discuss in these few points. But before that, I would like to this is the last bullet of your second unit, but this part is an inculcation part, so and not so technical, but you have to remember that this also cannot be written in examination just like that, as your common understanding. I'll give you a few important points here with regards to this. But before all of this, just yesterday or day before yesterday, I got a call from one of the agency, which is maybe I must not take the name of one of the agency. That agency is having right now, I mean, it's many agencies are there, or you can say these are platforms are there, startups are there. But yeah, see, I am taking an alternative name. You know about the Khan Academy and Byju's, that Byju's. Like that, one more startup company rang me up for my daughter is in class 6, and they wanted to provide entire services uh, since the lockdown is there, and many school kids, school children have been suffering like we do. But for small children, that is really a worrisome. That's why NCERT have started providing a separate kind of assignment to be completed, and like that they can. But why I am trying to share that particular startup company? They are basically from IIT Mumbai, and few are from management institutions, and together they started this program. And in that program, they are still I think they do have already you know, lakhs of students enrolled to their program and getting services, including these academic services and these counseling services. And it is very amazing thing. Sometimes our director also used to mention during the discussion of these opportunities other than, you know, teaching after this graduation program. So any one of you can become like a startup like this, career counselor, or any, like, you know, program provider like this. So I really felt a linkage between the latest exposure to those guys. Those guys really smart, and but at the same time, yeah, being you know, a collaborative team from IIT background and management institution, you know, they are really smart. But here, that smartness and value is very important in our part. We are in a teacher education program, and teacher education program is actually different from you know, it is not purely you know, that hardcore professional that this comes under soft professional, and you have to have a teacher as a facilitator. The word facilitator comes do not easily, and we you know that we don't do business out of that the role of as a teacher, role as a guardian, and role as a headmaster, role as a friend in our school system. So I would like to come to the following points so that we can discuss and paperwork like before, and I did once in assessment program. Please remember that whatever we are doing here, I am covering some part of the assessment without expertise in assessment techniques and assessment tools and measurements, evaluation, all those tools in your pedagogy or in other paper. Separately, you have been doing like Excel research too and measurement and evaluation paper. Without having you know, skillful expertise in that area too, you will face a problem as a professional counselor. So I believe that since you have been covering up measurement and evaluation separate paper, and in all the pedagogy paper you have been dealing with these assessment programs, assessment techniques, assessment tools, all those things are not separated from teacher as counselor, or you can say every counselor must have that expertise and that skills. Okay, just for a moment we come to the paperwork, and then later on we will again discuss in next yeah, see, I am not still the fluency of it. So start like this, dear friends. The topic is unit 2, your unit 2. You can see this, I do not know, can you see this? Okay, yes, this is unit 2, and some noisy sound is there because of the fan. And unit 2, the last bullet, you know, I'm talking about the last bullet. I have been talking about that is role of school personnel in organizing, you know, guidance services, which like we have in the second bullet, that career talk, class talk, career talks, career conference, group discussion, all of these things. These are coming up in the next pages one by one. We have already started discussing about it. But here, role of school personnel, especially. School personnel, here we can tag this particularly a teacher, class teacher, and class teacher as a counselor, or again a class teacher can be a counselor too, and then head of the schools, head of the school, head of the school. Obviously students are there, parents are there, okay, like but the controlling factor here in case of parents, like we do have a parents teacher meeting, and you might have seen that in most of the school nowadays do have separate facilities for counselor in most of the Kendra Vidyalaya school and Navodaya, but I don't know whether private schools or public schools really do have this separate facility, but obviously some might be having. But in government schools, especially in central government schools, every school do have this counselor facility. Maybe they are professional, at the same time they are also deputed from the school class teacher itself, after providing training to the teachers, just like school teachers become at the same time NCC teacher, like that. So here we can discuss about these two part, whether teacher, counselor, or head of the school separately. Okay, so one of the things is whenever we organize any guidance services in schools or in our organization, one of the very important part is qualities of the the teacher or the counselor is very important, because the success or the failure of the counseling program depends on the counselor. Therefore he or she must possess the qualities which will enable him or her to do his job well. That means including creating environment and creating getting ready with the requirements and everything, whatever, that is very important. But at the same time, one must know that minimum guidance services should be made available to all the secondary schools, by at least if those schools don't have their own counselor, they can have one visiting counselor, professional one. Now let us move to their some of their qualities. We will deal this role of school personnel in the form of their qualities or some of like that. So at least that the personnel, whether he or she is a teacher or a counselor, must have at least have a breadth of interest. So mostly I do still remember when I did this particularly international diploma in guidance counseling from NCRT, and I choose RI Bhopal, and many of us have given, that was the first batch, that particular batch where we did have international students. All the international students were provided allotted mostly to Delhi Center, and a few were allotted in RI Mysore, but because my job at that time, I went as an in-service candidate, and what I wanted to say, most of the candidates appear in that first batch. I realized that most of them, almost 90%, they came by having their own interest in this particular field, and they came by having their own interest to become a counselor, or some of them were already a counselor, but somewhat they were doing by their own, but not having a get a training, a formal training. So many of them came for formal training, and I still remember one person from Ahmedabad. He was already quite popular in that as a counselor in their hometown, but after completing this degree, yeah, he till that still do have connection, and he do have a very well-known counselor he has become nowadays. So at least a breadth of interest in this section. You know that without having own interest to sell towards the students and towards the school, it's almost not possible to organize anything like this kind of program, and then that person must possess one of the quality, that is very cooperativeness. We know about this thing. Without cooperation, this is not almost possible anything. That's how latest education system moving towards collaborative and cooperative education. Magnetism. What magnetism is actually, in common sense, it do have obviously an attractive personality. We can say here, we can simply let us interpret as a fine personality, charming personality, like that. Obviously, a happy one, not ippy one, happy one. That is very important. And fourth quality that personnel must have is accommodation. That is accommodating nature. We can say it versatile too, versatile, adjusting, versatile, adjusting. Many things are similar kind are there. And sympathetic, then sympathetic at the same time, empathetic. But professionally, we give preference to, even if you if any personnel, whenever they even sometimes they are trapped inside the sympathetic condition, but it is by the ethics of the counseling process, it is said that no, you cannot be sympathetic, you cannot express this too. Even you can be empathetic, because if once you become sympathetic, sometimes your personal involvement becomes biased to the process of guidance services or counseling services. And this way, another quality is required. Obviously, we do not know this, good human nature. This is very broad thing we can discuss. Good human nature. This is we can interpret in many forms, but here we can say, like right now, for now, let us take this an open nature, warm nature, and simple. It is almost infinite to define, but at least we what the feeling. Let us go to the feeling that yes, that person do have a very good nature as a human. Instead of going to its characteristic, when we say a good human nature, means the person must be honest, at least, and minimum the person must have a minimum professional competence. Minimum professional competence. It is very important. That's why I talked to you a little before coming to this paperwork. Even that assessment, measurement, assessment, evaluation part we have been dealing in different as a full paper or as a part of the paper in 7th semester, in 8th semester, or in early previous semester, wherever. That thing is one of the very important part of this professional competence of guidance services. Along with this, many other competencies are there. We will come to know in the third unit about counseling. But as a guidance service, the minimum, or at least professional competence means that at least that person must have a professional ethics while organizing a guidance service. Guidance service should be at least a very facilitating one. It should not be an imposed one. That must be remembered. And if decision making, or instead of decision making, what we can say here, understanding the children. Instead of that, understanding. Understanding is also a very many people use as a fancy kind of fashion kind, but the word understanding in terms of relationship is a huge one. So to reflect that, I am an understanding, I am a very, or you are an understanding person, or you are understanding, very understanding as a guidance service organizer, provider. Really it demands a lot. But in a simple way to reflect that you have a very strong understanding quality. Certain opportunities may come up to reflect this understanding personality towards the children when you observe when you observe the children, when you make this observation, especially this observation one type of under this it will come anecdotal record. Observation schedule is there, and anecdotal record maintenance, anecdotal records. This is one of the tool of observation. Another one is observation schedule, and after that making this is also, yes, here it can come cumulative record. You might have seen, if you are from Kendra Vidyalaya or Navodaya school, do maintain cumulative record cards. This is your school record card is part of a cumulative record card. A cumulative record card is a little bit different from school record card, and like that. And having this thing, doing this observation, maintaining anecdotal record, cumulative record, and when you give rating, adopting a rating scale, or observation diaries, all these things, diaries and autobiography of the children, questionnaire and psychological test, many other things are there where your understandings towards the students, or while providing guidance services will reflect that you have enough understanding, and you have the opportunity to express through all these things. If your understanding is very strong, then your observation records in the form of anecdotal records or cumulative record cards, and your contribution, your assessment through rating scales, and your notes on the diaries, and making the students autobiographies and questionnaires will become a quite beautiful one. This much of qualities are, I think, very important points as a guidance personnel to provide a guidance service in the school. Beyond these points, few additional points are there. If you are a trained counselor, teacher counselor, trained counselor, you must have some additional qualities are there, which you have to have those competencies more than a normal teacher, a school teacher. We'll move to that sequence. So we can say that role of school personnel in organizing. First one is just qualities must have a role which a teacher must before performing contributing their role as to provide guidance services. This must of qualities must have. Okay, so we'll move to next one.